someone can definitely be very, very proud of that game. And they're going to try to see if they can replicate that level of success here. We're just kind of running back the same bans, probably just the same picks, it feels like, from both sides. There's been not too much variation throughout this series. There's been a couple little changes here and there. Obviously, the Xayah got added as a ban after game number 1.
Yeah.
There has been some variance in picks and bans, but not a tremendous amount. Rell, Renekton, Kaisa, Sejuani, like they are basically always in there, it feels like, early on, unless they're going to get banned out. And now we have to see, is it going to be an early Jax to answer?
It is.
So they're not going to allow this to go to the second round. Generally, they have been picking Trist here, but I think it's actually smart. APA hasn't been having the best games on Trist anyway, and let's face it, Jax was going to get banned in the second round. There's no way I think they were going to let that through. I think that NRG was hoping, though, that it was going to be a mid lane pick here. They could ban, out some of the Summit picks in the second round to have those protection bans, but it is not going to be the option, and it's just right back to Ezreal. So
yeah,
it's a little bit interesting because we kind of just have almost like a salty run back.
The NRG clearly wanting to make sure that FBI is on an AD carry that has a lot of safety and a lot of, just self-protection and self-heal, which is why the Xayah was taken away in the first place. And Ezreal, I mean, some arcane shifts were not so great, but you saw in the game too, when things were going well, when all the protection was on FBI, he actually just monstered those fights.
Now, it's really interesting to me how highly they're prioritizing the Renekton, though, because I kind of feel like if someone gets Renekton, who cares? Just play Sion or Malphite or Ornn into it. He's gonna get up and farm, but Renekton can't take over a game in the same way that a Jax can, right? Because you can't win the game through sides. You can play in 5v5 and be really strong for that, but I do think it is a little bit questionable because it also means that they're always giving over the Sejuani, right? And it's like, if it was just Jax but there was no Sejuani, I would also be less worried about that too.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like, if they just went Sejuani, Rell 1-2 on red, okay, what is TL gonna do? Are they gonna take Jax with an inferior jungle pairing, or are they gonna go Renekton? Then you just take a tank on 3 and match. I feel like there's a smarter way to draft this for NRG, but they seem very kind of dead set on going towards a Renekton, and I'm not sure if it's just something where they're like, okay, it's comfort, or Summit's such a good laner, we just need an early power pick for Dhokla to be able to survive. I don't know what it is, but I do think by ignoring the power that Sejuani is bringing to the Jax, I feel like they're really doing themselves a disservice in the draft.
Sure, and clearly it's something that we don't know from behind the scenes either.
And maybe they've tried this thing 100 times. It never worked for them in scrims, right? So it's it's always hard to know, but just, from my point of view, watching as a third party, that's what it feels like to me, because dealing with Jax is completely different from dealing with the Jax who has a Sejuani in the back pocket.
Yeah. Well, NRG noticed that with 3 mid lane bans in the second round phase, Tristana was not one of them, and Palafox might just snatch up this one, because even though APA not necessarily having the best games on it this series, it's still a power pick for any team.
Absolutely. And the other thing is, you're kind of throwing down the gauntlet saying, now what, right? Are you going to go back to the Jayce? Well, it didn't have a great Jayce game early on. It looked really, really rough. That's what Palafox was using into it. But if you're Palafox and you're saying, well, I'm just better than you, you're not going to be able to play the Jayce the same way that I could. You're not going to pressure me the same way that I pressured you. Then it is kind of posing that challenge to APA. And you can see they're not even concerned about the Jayce. They ban out the Cassio, which is one of those picks that APA is really well known for. So these 2 mid lane bans are definitely target towards the player, not towards the champions themselves. It's going to be CoreJJ back on the set, so they have more time to think about what APA is going to pick. But I think that is going to really change how this draft works out. They've got to find something, I think, that he's going to feel confident on, especially after last game where he was looking pretty down, I would say, on cams.
Yeah, and NRG already sniped the Cassiopeia, which was by far his most played this summer split. There's some other pocket picks that APA might have up in his sleeves, but he has not shown them in quite some time, and it looks like we're not going to see it in this game either. It's just back to the Jayce. And for Team Liquid's sake, we'll see if APA can have a better showing on it against the Tristana.
And I do think it's a great pick, as far as the context of the draft. You have Kaisa, Jayce now, so you have good poke. You have pretty good team fight here. You can play out towards the side lanes very heavily with this Jax Sejuani, so there's a lot of good tools.
Yes!
I actually love the Ivern here. I think that is going to make it so much more difficult for TL, both being able to use Daisy to actually block poke, but also dealing with the Jax, having an enchanter in your back pocket. Trist and Ezreal are already very slippery, and now you have to deal with the Daisy, with the Daisy knocking you up. You have to deal with the Ivern shields. You have to deal with things like Redemption that are going to be there, the root caller to root you up. It's going to make it so much more difficult to actually stick to these really evasive ADs. So I think it's a great swap. You know, bring that Rell down towards a support and grab that Ivern for Contractz, who's one of the first guys in the league to really kind of bring that out.
Yeah. The fact that Ivern was banned in the first couple of games in this series, and then game 3, it made its way through the ban phase. No pickup.
Really been an issue. We haven't seen any kind of like super tanks make their debut in the series where it really does get, I think, more of a big deal.
Welcome to Summer's Rift.
A little bit of banter in chat, talking back and forth. It's interesting. Palafox saying you don't like first strike. He's playing phase rush. I think it's a little bit of shade. I think it's a little bit like, oh, you're playing the more defensive rune. You're playing a little bit scared, you know? Because I talked about that. A lot of people do play the phase rush because when Palafox jumps in, he's gonna go into melee form. He's gonna hammer form, auto, and then just basically E him backwards and proc phase rush, and he's just gonna run straight away, right?
Yeah.
And that makes it so that he can never actually get all of those autos off with the E up and get that reset on the rocket jump, which is really where Tristan can be very, very scary. So I think Palafox, a little bit of banter there with him in that mid lane.
You know, we've had some, banters and all chatters in the league. I don't remember if Palafox has been one of the ones that we've talked about a lot, but I know APA on his debut game, losing to Academy mid, that was big trash talks coming in on his first week there, and now getting a little bit thrown back in his face. We'll have to see. I mean, Palafox knows that he needs to just lay in the salt on the wound of an already stressed APA in this series.
Yeah, and honestly, a lot of it can be mental warfare. Like, maybe he's muted and he didn't even see it, but maybe he's not, right? And then you get a little bit frustrated. Because I do think Palafox has been getting the better of him. I think Palafox had a really good split. I personally voted for him for a third team All-Pro.
Hey, me too.
Hey, great minds. Didn't end up getting it, but I do think he deserved the consideration for it. And he's trying to showcase his talents here in playoffs.
CoreJJ landing a nice face breaker or haymaker onto FBI there in the trade. But so far, getting a chance to see what Contractz is going to do, since this is now his first time being able to get the Ivern this series so far. We already know how efficient and how fast his path is. He can look to get a full clear under 3 minutes, and then the fact that he'll be level 4 while Pyosik is still trying to get there puts a lot of pressure on Pyosik to find and choose these skirmishes well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do think the counter ganks from Ivern can be pretty devastating. If you show up, you're spending all your spells, especially early on. It's like there's long cooldowns on your spells generally, so you have all this upfront damage. If you don't get the kill and all of a sudden Ivern shows up there with a shield, all of a sudden things can really turn around very, very quickly. So that is why a lot of people do like Ivern, especially into enemy tank junglers, because there's not a lot of damage that they're actually putting out. They can't just have this high consistent DPS kind of burst through your shields. So it can be problematic for someone like Sejuani. And of course, the root caller being able to give that pseudo dash to allies when you actually do, hit it Q. Renekton can use that kind of just jump on in and follow up. So it can be pretty powerful, but a good ward there over by Krugs is going to spot the Ivern. And someone is just kind of playing in this side brush, but this is pretty dicey. If Pyosik isn't there, like, he saw him.
And he's got to be careful about when he flashes, because if he dodges... All right, well...
This is just weird. The wave is coming towards him, and he saw him on Krugs. Did he just not notice him on the minimap? Like, did no one notice him on the minimap? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Because at first, I thought he was going to just stand in the side brush and just soak XP and just wait.
Was it ego?
But the wave is coming towards him, so there's no reason that he has to actually be out there and ends up having to give up his flash. It's not the end of the world, doesn't die, but... It's not like Contractz spent any time to do that. He did a 6 camp clear, walked through top lane. He's like, sure, top lane is the 7th camp. We'll take a free flash.
Yep. Now, Pyosik was able to clear out most of his jungle. Doesn't look like he got a chance to look for the bottom crab. Just wanted to get the reset and make sure he could beeline towards the top side of the map. Lay some protective vision down, especially now that Summon has no flash. I can imagine that Contractz will look and try and either by himself, or if Ignar can get a roam timer, then you can really put the pressure down on Summit early on.
It's also pretty big here for Palafox. Palafox didn't actually have to use his TP mid. He just walks back towards mid. APA did commit the TP. He's going to be down farm even with that, because Palafox had a really good base timing there as Pyosik back up towards top. I think Dhokla kind of had the 6th sense that he was probably around there, so does go in and check. Ends up losing about 20%, maybe 30% of his HP as a result, but they're going to look for APA.
Ooh, good flash from APA, but now that's a Summoner spell down, and Palafox and Contractz putting the pressure once again.
Yeah, it's just great work from Contractz. Has been very efficient. Went to top, force flash, went mid, force flash, and now Pyosik gets pushed out there by Dhokla. It is still annoying because he has lost a significant amount of his health. He's going to have to pop his potions just to the enemy jungle. But at the end of the day, the wave is coming towards them, should be able to pick this up, and won't be too big of a deal. So Contractz trying to stay active on the map, playing behind Palafox here. He knows there's kind of this window of vulnerability where Palafox is pushing this in. He wants to get him mid-pressure, and he also then wants to use that to go ahead and go claim this scuttle on bottom side, which he'd already pre-channeled on. So it's kind of two eggs with, getting two things done at once. I don't even know what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
2 eggs, 1 basket, but it's not really that. I guess it kind of is. Either way, going to be able to steal away the Raptors. Now he's going to be able to go and claim the scuttle. So I think it's been a great start here for Contractz.
Yeah, I mean, that's the power of Ivern. You know, whenever you have Smite available, you just walk into an enemy camp and then you hit it with your passive and then boom, Smite, easy clap. You just walk out and it's just super fast, super efficient. There's not really anything that Pyosik can do either because it is a tank jungle matchup. Like, what are you supposed to do? Just slap him with the flail? I mean, you don't do that much damage in a 1v1. You need to rely on your laners to collapse in to actually threaten the Ivern. And they have the bot and mid prio, so this is a free dragon as well.
Yep, prio through 2 lanes. They move over towards the dragon. This is just really good efficient stuff from NRG in the early stages. It is completely tied as far as the gold league goes, so that doesn't really matter, but it's this little bit of pressure that they have been able to put on, and we'll see if they can capitalize on any of those missing flashes. But grabbing an early Infernal could be feeling pretty nice here at this point in the game, as the push will just continue from FBI and Ignar. We'll see how much of an advantage they can get. It is a bit of a different matchup, but we did see, last time the Ezreal came out, was looking pretty good in that bot lane 2v2, was pushing up, getting plates. Has been pretty effective, I think, for FBI throughout the series.
Contractz making his way towards the top side, but Pyosik trying to see if he can match it as well and get some control vision here on where Contractz might be trying to linger through and affect this top lane matchup. Summit, very nice CS lead so far in the matchup once again, and Dhokla has been under pressure so far, and because there hasn't been a chance for a repeat visit from Contractz or even Ignar as well, Summit's flash is going to be coming up just in probably, I want to say, less than 30 seconds left with that timer. And so Summit goes unpunished. Yep,
going to be going unpunished there. Going to be feeling pretty good about that. Took another base. He's just been kind of shoving out the wave, then basing. As Pyosik unspotted here, this could be trouble for Palafox.
Okay, he's waiting to but Palafox had the patience there. Waited for APA to use the hammer blow before committing the rocket jump, and that way he gets out unbuffered.
And that's one of those situations where APA just needs to be a bit more patient with it. He just kind of, I think, got a bit antsy, got a bit nervous that maybe he couldn't react once he saw the animation. So he just throws it out. He tries to anticipate it instead of reacting to it. And as a result, no buster shot having to be used, just does rocket jump to safety there, but is a little bit of chip damage at the very least on a Palafox. And up towards top side, it's going to be a bit of one of these risky moments now for Dhokla. The wave is stacking, but it's pushing out away from him. Contractz probably needs to get up there and cover him because Pyosik could absolutely look towards top lane here. If he gets up towards top before that wave crashes, it's going to be problematic for Dhokla.
And once again, Ignar is the first one out of the bottom side of the map to roam towards the top side, and Contractz doesn't get a chance to steal the Scuttle Crab away, but he forces him off because he has the pressure of Ignar there to support him.
And he got the smite, so this is going to actually prompt him to start up Herald. He's saying, okay, you have no smite, you can't actually contest this now. Pyosik's still hanging around in the area. They have this Renekton, who is 6, gets the Honey Fruit, back to full health, Daisy summons, so should be their Herald as long as Palafox continues to push here. Summon, I don't think, is going to be able to move down to actually contest, so NRG just continuing this early focus on the objectives, have been taking them basically on spawn, and Palafox even going to be able to get a second plate here already. And when you've got 2 early plates that fast in your 1v1, plus he's up 2 waves, yeah, APA is going to eventually get back there, but the problem is Herald is now in the pockets of Ivern, so that's pretty close to a dead turret.
The fact that Palafox is being able... Oh, but huge Glacial Prison from Pyosik! Palafox, does he get the rocket jump in time? Yes, he does! It's still not enough damage! Oh, man, and I imagine if Palafox really wants to rub it in, he's like, I've told you, first strike would have killed me there.
Yeah, that would be pretty funny if he does go for it. I don't think he's going to. But at the end of the day, Palafox able to survive. Good gank from Pyosik, but they just didn't quite have enough damage to be able to finish him off. So at the end of the day, Palafox gets out of there, takes the plates for free, and it's going to be able to reset with a nice buy. So grabbing the Berserker Grease on top, they still have the Ivern with that Rift Herald. Don't pay attention to the timer, though, I will say, because the timer seems very wrong generally on the spectator client for Herald. It's kind of like that double overlaid timer that can kind of be a little bit weird. But we'll see, exactly when he's going to drop it. I'm expecting he'll just go mid and just try to continue keeping Palafox in this really good spot, because so far top lane has been at a bit of a stalemate. There was a bit of pressure put up there by Pyosik. There was the forced flash from Contractz, but they're kind of just farming even and bouncing the wave back and forth. So I don't think he has to worry about Dhokla too much. And I think you just really want to accelerate this Trist and keep putting pressure on APA.
Yeah, because then if you break the Tristana out of the mid lane as well, you can just bring that turret destruction power to another side lane, just rack up the plates. You still have 3 minutes left to get that gold accelerated. NRG are not at a huge gold lead, but they could just snowball out of the game.
Absolutely, and I think one of the other big things is you take down the tier 1 mid, it makes it way harder to actually challenge at these objectives, right? And they are clearly having a huge focus on the objectives. They already got the early Herald, they already got the first dragon, so now they should be able to drop right here. Pyosik is coming to answer, but Ignar is there to cover, so this tower won't quite die, but it's going to be really darn close at this point. And NRG are just continually putting on this pressure here. One more auto is going to do it. So first tower already gone, 1.3k lead. It's looking really, really nice. And now 20 seconds until the dragon. They should be able to use this pressure through mid, push out mid, and then move down towards that dragon and continue the stack towards a potential soul.
And you can see that Pyosik was thinking about maybe collapsing. Maybe there's an angle for a 2v2 between him and APA. But the fact that Ignar has once again been the first support out on the map and answering those roams with NRG, it just allows them to guarantee any of these trades that they want to look for.
Yeah, absolutely. And thus far, it's mostly just been the strategy to have Dhokla play safe. And they're just going to take objectives. They're saying, okay, if you're going to spend all your time going up towards our Renekton over and over and over again, we're going to get every dragon, we're going to get every herald, we're going to take advantages elsewhere. So clearly, I think the game plan has been, Dhokla, sorry bud, but you have to play safe. You're going to have to try to survive on your own, and we're going to win the game on the other side of the map. They do start up this dragon, but they are going to get pushed back off of it for now, so neither team will fully commit to it, as both ADs are still down in bot. Contractz has that Daisy for a little bit longer, and I think they want to at least get control of mid, though, before they move back towards the dragon.
Yeah, but it can be dangerous for Team Liquid to overextend now, since they don't have the protection of that tier 1 turret anymore. Contractz and Palafox, though, it's just 2v3, whereas Ignar looping back around towards the bottom side of the map, making sure that Yeon cannot collapse in through the jungle as well. They have vision, so they're able to spot APA and Pyosik out walking over this ward.
Yep. And they see core as well, so they're going to try to push out through bot and maybe reestablish control there. They decide, all right, there's not an angle to just immediately rush this down, but Palafox pushes out mid. That's the TP there forced from APA, and Pyosik will potentially look for an angle, but I think Palafox is just going to back it off. He already cleared out the wave, so there's no chance that they can actually push in. And now with Ivern coming back out on the map, Palafox could actually TP, and they could potentially look to challenge here, as I think they might have an idea that TL is on it, but if their bot lane is going to base, it will just be giving this over. So at the end of the day, TL handling the pressure pretty well here, and their bot side will be able to grab a dragon back.
Dragon secured for Team Liquid here. APA returning back to the mid lane. We got Hex, Tech, Soul, and that means Portal Gaming accessible to both of these teams. Palafox is just going to jump in and be able to soak up this wave because he has Ignar there for safety in case anything got dicey. I'm curious now, where does Team Liquid start to want to look at? Because NRG were the first ones on the objectives. The fact that they delay the dragon stacking means that NRG are not going to be able to hit Soul as early as they wanted to.
I mean, I think they're just going to keep playing through Summit. Like, that has clearly been the game plan. I think Pyosik is going to keep going up there. They have been attacking Palafox a bit, but largely it has been about the Sejuani plus the Jax. And now that you've taken a dragon, you buy more time to play through sides, right? If they got the first 2 dragons right on spawn, they have to start getting a little bit worried about a potential Soul Force. So now they cook that 1 dragon, they're just going to go up towards top, and they're going to see what they can get done. Dhokla clears out that wave very, very quickly, but it's 3-4 members here. Dokla's going to die, so it's going to be a race on the other side of the map to see what can they get done there.
And forcing the flash out of Dhokla. CoreJJ finds him as well into the ultimate, but Dhokla is living to the very bitter end. Almost takes out CoreJJ, but Yeon claims the kill, and it's first blood for Team Liquid.
Yeah, good move from TL up towards the top side. They finally get Dhokla. This has been the TL game plan. All eggs in the Summit basket, constantly forced towards him. They're going to lose their tower on bottom side. Of course, tier 1 mid was already taken a while ago, so that was that first tower of the game. This will eventually, we assume, be a trade on the top side. Not quite yet, but FBI going to be able to push out bot. They pushed out mid already. They take away some jungle camps potentially. and they continue trying to extend the gold lead.
They might not be able to get this turret. Dhokla has teleport, and Ignar is threatening to collapse on here.
Getting a little risky.
It's an overextended play as well. Teleport from Dhokla is right there. Pyosik has forced a flash over the wall because he already used the Arctic Assault, and it's right in time with a Herald. This should be free for NRG.
Exactly, and that is the price that they're going to pay. So they trade for towers. The other problem is that is Dhokla TPing up towards this side of the map. Now there's no one answering bot, right? So they may actually need to TP Palafox down towards bot if they want to defend that tier 1, but he's not looking to do it. So it's just going to be continually more and more trades. They're going to take Herald, and likely they're going to go top with Palafox and try to drop Herald top, and maybe try to challenge for, you know, 1 turret bot for 2 towers top, something like that. NRG are just trying to move around the map, trying to get these advantageous trades, and we'll see if they're going to be able to do it. But of course, there is always that concern that all of that gold is going to Jax, whereas yours is going to be split amongst multiple members on the top side. Here comes Contractz as expected.
Glacial Prison doesn't quite hit Contractz. Daisy has been summoned as well, just a body block in case that was necessary, but Palafox gets to hit this turret completely unmatched.
And they won't even have to actually drop the Herald to get it, so nicely done. They do trade it back and forth. It's solo gold for the Tristana, who maintains her place as the richest member in the game, but only ever so slightly over what Yeon and Summit are at. So there's, you know, really strong carries on both sides. It is, you know, a slight gold lead there for Ivern in the jungle, but that can be pretty impactful if you can get to some of these early completed support items. Of course, he already has that Shirelia's. We'll see if he wants to go towards, you know, whether it's going to be Redemption or like maybe even Mikhail's going to be really good against Sejuani, but Summit might be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, Palafox is teleporting in. Summit forced to flash, but the explosive charge is right on top of him, and he doesn't have the counter-strike again to be able to deter the damage from Palafox, and he gets the rocket jump once again, and Pyosik is locked up. 2 kills over to the side of NRG, and that just seems so free.
Nicely done. They punished Summit, who was getting a little bit aggressive, wanted to try to fight for that vision. He steps up, and they commit the teleport from Palafox. He comes in, gets that kill, is already really strong in this game, has the early Kraken, working towards his quick blades. And with Ivern there to support you, they can now go through bot. They're going to get the tier 2 bot guaranteed. We'll see if they're going to be able to get a charge additionally after that. But if you spend too many members down towards bot, they could even challenge up towards mid lane for more. And the Dragon's going to be spawning here in 50 seconds. And this Dragon is so powerful. Hextech Soul with double marksman is incredibly good. So you absolutely do not want to give this up on either side. So I think both teams are going to have even more attention paid towards that. The individual Dragons are also just really, really nice because attack speed, haste, etc. Can be very valuable for both sides.
And now the question for Team Liquid, you know, are they strong enough to be able to contest NRG at this point in the game? They have their poke online, 2 items for Yeon, almost 2 items for APA, but he's still working on just a tier. Doesn't have even a Manamune, let alone a Muramana fully stacked up.
Yeah, he's pretty far from his second item, right? He will be able to get his Caulfield soon, but still pretty far away from that second item, and we're going to see Palafox completing 2 pretty soon. FBI is obviously close to his 2 items as well. Yeon is very strong, and that is something working in their favor. If they can land a lot of poke, they could definitely take this fight, and they're just kind of rushing down the Dragon. NRG are showing up late again, which does surprise me, because I feel like they have a great comp for 5v5, but they're late to the scene. We'll see if they can get in there.
Maybe Knight just might not be late at all. 1400 HP. Hex Flash from Ignar doesn't quite connect. Pyosik is able to take it down, and CoreJJ forcing the front line. Yeon using the killer instinct to put himself on the left side of the map. And Palafox is in the pit, but neither NRG nor Team Liquid lose members in the skirmish.
Yeah, they don't get anyone. They're not able to finish off CoreJJ there. And Pyosik just goes out of the back of the pit. So TL at the end of the day, rush down the Dragon. Nicely played by them. NRG late to the scene. I do feel that they're in the winning position to actually take these fights, but they just showed up way too late. They tried to bully their way in, but TL just rushed down that Dragon. I'm going to be feeling pretty good about that. Again, every single Dragon you take is buying more time to play through the side lanes with the Jayce, with the Jax as well. As the 2 players having a little bit of fun there, coming back and forth. But now NRG moving in towards top side, establishing vision around here. Baron will be up in about a minute, so it's going to add that kind of additional layer of complexity to how you want to actually play the map.
Yeah, and FBI is super strong as well. Triforce and Muramana fully stacked up and ready to go. Mystic shots are going to be hurting, especially if they land onto any of the squishier members of Team Liquid. Palafox still working, and just as I say that, Quick Blades has been completed. So now the Tristana is going to be packing a huge punch in these fights, and if he continues getting these resets like he has been in a little bit of the skirmishes that we saw, I mean, Palafox will run amok and Team Liquid will have a huge problem on their hands.
Yeah, it could be really difficult to deal with them. You know, we're having this Ivern, he's going to be closing on a second support item. And between FBI and Palafox, there's a lot of consistent damage, and they're very difficult to actually lock down. Like, I would really like Mikhail's, I think, second, you know, from this point. And when you're thinking about Counter-Strike, when you're thinking about Sejuani ult, those are kind of the main tools that they have to actually lock these guys down. And if you have a well-timed Mikhail's from Ivern, that can completely deny your ability to actually, you know, find those picks on Palafox or FBI. Of course, FBI does still have cleanse, so there's merit to some other options as well. But NRG sitting in a really good spot. Very strong 5v5 comp. Dhokla has really not fallen too far behind in the 1v1. It's not the end of the world because it doesn't actually reset like it used to, but a little bit unfortunate.
I've definitely done that a couple times when I was trying out Jayce jungle. I was like, oh man, I messed up my clear. Start over. But for Team Liquid, as you already called out, they're getting ready for Baron as it is live on the map here. It's not another 2.5 minutes before the other dragon spawns. It would be the third for Team Liquid of the game, second for NRG. But NRG, the first, being able to respond and get some vision down and contest this river is going to be crucial because Team Liquid, if they don't get into the river first, they cannot set up for the poke.
And NRG, you know, are just fully dominating vision in this area. They're clearing out all the wards. Multiple pinks have been dropped down. It is, in fact, the redemption here for Contractz, which obviously, you know, is very powerful also. And they're just going to start it. FBI pushing out mid. And with Palafox there, this thing is going to die in a hurry. At the very least, they want Summit's TP. So they're going to try to force Summit to TP. If he does not, they're going to commit to finishing this. And here comes the TP now. Now they should probably peel. Well, they're committing.
Do they want to commit as well to 2,000 HP as well? Summit just goes right into the heart of the pit. Contractz is able to secure it because there's no threat from Pyosik. But can they get NRG members out of the pit safely? CoreJJ taking a lot of damage, and FBI is still not arcane shifted over the wall because he still wants to trade blow for blow against Yeon and the rest of Team Liquid. Dhokla looking for another re-engage as well. Summit jumps in, Counter-Strike. Here comes the engage from Ignar right into the middle. Summit and Pyosik still surviving the onslaught. And Yeon is forced out of the fight because FBI from over the wall finds a true shot barrage and takes out more frontline members, and Palafox gets to reset, finding Pyosik on the back end of the fight. APA and Yeon are the only ones left standing, but what a huge play for NRG.
Massive for NRG. There is Palafox again coming up huge. He buster shots Pyosik away. They commit to the Baron because they're just saying Palafox is just going to peel. He's going to keep him out right there as he goes forward. Arctic assaults forward with the Q, gets buster shot away, and wasn't able to get back to the pit before it is secured. Palafox cutting out through the top side. Really well done by him, staying away from Summit, getting that damage down as Dhokla pulls back to the rest of the team. They realize in this extended fight, we can just keep going. FBI played this one out very well, had this duel on the side with Yeon for so long, back and forth, until eventually he's able to actually force Yeon out with this final auto attack. Yeon has to flash to safety. Summit gets a kill, but over the wall, the ulti is back from FBI, and he snipes him down. That gets the reset for Palafox. He goes in, gets another kill on Core, and that is not a wall that you can flash, and Palafox knows it. He is pumped up. NRG coaching staff feeling really good about that one as well, as they are on the march here. 6K up, Baron in pocket. NRG are pressing to win this series.
And you talked about it before, Azael. So many players in this game are confidence players, and Palafox is definitely one of them. When he is feeling it, he is on fire. And now Palafox could be looking to make that show-stopping performance, something that he's carried on every single game of this series, even in the loss as well. He was one of the few opponents that Team Liquid had to deal with, and now the rest of NRG. Can they carry this lead out? It is a 6,000 gold lead on their side. Baron still in their hands for the next 50 seconds. We'll see what else they can do.
I mean, it's just such a hard task now for TL. Jax is not ahead in the side lane. All Renekton has to do is never fight you and wave clear. As long as he doesn't give up a death, there's not going to be a lot of opportunities in the side lane. 5v5 is so tough. Tristana Ezreal with an Ivern behind them, with the peel and counter engage here from the Rell as well as the Renekton. It's very difficult to make anything happen there. There's not an angle for Soul for TL, so things are going to be very, very tough for them, but they are moving out on the map here, trying to see if they can find a pick.
Oh, FBI spotted right on the control ward. Glacial Prison stuns him dead center. Huge pick for Team Liquid, but will that buy enough time for them to come back in this game?
Yeah, that was really good there. Getting that pick on FBI. He walks into that tri-brush blind. Didn't expect him to be out on the map, I guess. You know, just thought he was safe to be able to do it. Didn't have his cleanse up just yet. As they will land that root caller. Summit should be fine to back off here. Had the Counter-Strike available, but it's a TP coming in from Palafox. So clearly they were concerned about TL looking for a play.
Can they catch up Pyosik, but he Arctic assaults over the wall. So he's back to rejoin with the rest of the group here. It's still 5 members for Team Liquid to defend this turret.
Yeah, and top lane is pushing in with the supers, but NRG will have to back it up. They don't want to disrespect the fact that TL could look for some sort of an engage. You know, those are the ways that they can maybe find plays, you know, capitalize on missing cooldowns, try to find someone who's in a bad spot. They do get a good punish onto FBI, but now he has cleanse again, so that gets a lot harder. And if he is with the squad, that is going to be incredibly difficult, of course. So we'll see what the plan is going forward. As Palafox working towards the BT, that is going to make poking really not much of an option here. And NRG just continuing this march forward.
Man. Now for Team Liquid, they already have to deal with Ivern shields. Now on top of that, Palafox is going to get some lifesteal as well. It just feels like you're not going to be able to land any meaningful damage onto Palafox in particular. If FBI is also able to find his way into lifesteal, then it just seems almost game over for Team Liquid, because a lot of this damage is relying on setting up poke, but they're just brute forcing through these towers.
I mean, that turret just got insta-killed, and no one is answering Dhokla on bot side. You can see Summit is still trying to deal with the supers through top. They don't have a wave mid right now, so now someone should be able to go bot, clear that out. That's going to buy them a little bit of time, but NRG are just going to continue shoving in here, trying to land poke over the wall. You can see APA is trying to do a bit of the same here. Has had a very quiet game on the Jayce thus far, but they need him now to be able to step up, and they're going to go for the deep TP here. No one's spotting him from NRG just yet, and Summit could have the angle.
They have the ward, and from the fog, FBI gets jumped by Summit. Can they carry out this fight? Ignar and Dhokla fighting this one out, but they dropped to Team Liquid just like that. Team Liquid find 3.
It's Summit on the flank. NRG didn't spot him. We're not tracking those wards behind him. He gets in onto FBI. They force both the summoners and they get the kill as they hard engage here. In with the counter-strike, cleanse flash, trying to get to safety, but everyone piles in on him, trying to take him out. You can see Dhokla is not quite able to finish off Yeon. Very close to getting that kill back, but couldn't do it. That buys some time here for TL, and critically gets some gold in the pockets of Summit, as well as Yeon, who's now up to 3 items, has a stopwatch. Summit's on 2 items with that stopwatch, so maybe, just maybe, they can make some plays happen, but it's still going to be tough. You can see the BT now coming in for Palafox, and he has been someone they have not been able to drop a single time yet this game.
Yeah, that was pretty much a 2,500 gold swing back into Team Liquid. They're still at a deficit because NRG still have 3.5k ahead, but getting any gold into your pockets at this stage of the game, trying to accelerate these power spikes for your main damage carries is so crucial for Team Liquid staying in this game. And once again, Summit being able to find an angle. In Game 3, he was the reason why they stayed in this game, and Summit is not going down without a fight.
And now he's got a Zonius, so he has that additional playmaking tool to try to throw himself into the backline. Against double AD carry, your Counter-Strike is invaluable. You're going to be able to buy so much time. You get in the backline, you pressure them back, you create space for your carries with that Counter-Strike into the Zonias, and then a second Counter-Strike. And if he can do that, if he can buy time for his team, maybe Yeon and APA can capitalize, but it's going to be Summit going forward.
Palafox with the buffer on the rocket jump is able to escape Summit's grasp. Redemption already popped, just in fear of how much damage was going to be done onto Palafox's HP. Baron is available. NRG have vision control, and they're going to look to take full on the Baron side if they can catch Team Liquid here for the phase check. Palafox gets a lot of damage, but it's a huge stun. Can they look for more? Team Liquid forced to back off for now. Summit down without his Counter-Strike. It's going to be the Zonias, but Team Liquid, can they bail him out? Does he get another Counter-Strike out? He's taking as much damage as he can. Counter-Strike into the Buster Shot, puts him away, and he might have just been able to escape for free. The Flash, he's out of there.
Yeah, they try to finish him off with the Buster Shot, but Summit survives again with the Zonias and the double Counter-Strike, but it's straight back to the Baron. This is the problem here. There's no TP on Summit. He's low on health. Pyosik is low on health as well, and they are watching for him. There's no Buster Shot to disengage him, so Dhokla has to keep him out of the pit, and they got to try to finish.
Pyosik tries to look for the steal, but he gets stunned up. The stasis, 1,000 HP, it's secured by Contractz. Pyosik is gone. Yeon is gone. He goes golden, but does he have killer instinct? Can he look for the reposition over the wall? He finds an angle. Palafox looks for it. CoreJJ gives his life to make sure that Palafox cannot look for the killing blow to Yeon, and Yeon fights back, takes out Dhokla. He He's still alive. Summon is still up and available, but Palafox has teleporting. He has made a triple kill. He's going to look to see if they can look for the push.
I think they're going to go for it here. I think they have what it takes to close this one out. It's just Yeon with no cooldowns, and Summit with no flash. Has ulti, but no Zhonya's here. It's a 2v4 stand, but they've got no answer for Palafox.
Summit jumps right into the back line of energy, but they peel him off. Counter-Strike already used. A lot of damage. The splash damage. Palafox cleans it up for the unofficial pentakill. And NRG will advance in the upper bracket to face against the Golden Guardians.
NRG have done it. Palafaker taking over the series. Going off in this one, finishing 6-0-4 on the Tristana. What a difference maker he was for NRG today. Palafox, that man right there, had an incredible series. And NRG finished out TL 3-1. Really solid final game here. I like the adaptations that they made in their draft, bringing in the Ivern, made it so difficult